2 weeks on from Trump's initial deadline for the Iran ceasefire, the outlook for diplomacy isn't any clearer. President Trump extended the ceasefire until Iranian leaders, quote, come up with a unified proposal, shortly before it was set to expire on Wednesday evening. Yet he said that the US was maintaining its naval blockade on ships coming to or from Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz. 3 ships have so far been fired on today in the strait, and it's unclear when and how the strait could be reopened to all shipping. The US hopes that its blockade, now in its 12th day, would soften Iran's position at the negotiating table. Yet Iran has repeatedly said that it will resist bullying and won't submit to force. Now, Pakistan is desperately trying to bring both parties back to the negotiating table. Authorities have made preparations for a possible second round of talks in Islamabad after the initial round failed to produce a conclusive agreement. But it's unclear whether any such meetings will go ahead. Pakistan's government was given credit for mediating the initial ceasefire agreement on April 8th, and reportedly for convincing Trump to delay the ceasefire deadline on Tuesday. But how did the country come to play such a central role in the mediation process? And what does it mean for its position in the Middle East more broadly? To find out, I'm speaking to Rear Admiral Sayed Faisal Ali Shah, former a Pakistani naval officer and presently a defense and security analyst. Admiral Faisal, thank you so much for speaking to Middle East Eye today. I want to begin by asking you how Pakistan came to play such a central role in these ceasefire talks. There's been much made of the apparent closeness between US President Trump and General Asim Munir. Do you think it's personal ties that played a role here, or kind of geopolitical ties? What do you attribute this role to?
Thank you very much for giving me a chance. I would take you back to May 2025 when we had a brief conflict with our eastern neighbor. And Pakistan emerged as victorious in that conflict. And after that, Pakistan is continuously seeing an ascendancy in its political stature worldwide, and enhanced political stature in the world. And that has actually helped Pakistan to come closer to US also. That also helped Pakistan to secure a defense agreement with KSA also, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And that also helped Pakistan to go close to Iran also. So Pakistan actually is enjoying good relations, very cordial relations with Iran, with USA, with China, with KSA, in general with all the Arab countries who are stakeholders in this conflict, Russia, Turkey. So Pakistan actually has the merit of being the only country who could have led this successfully, because also the reason we live in this region, and whatever is happening in this region, we are feeling the effects. And whatever is left behind after the war, we will still be affected by that. So Pakistan is very well versed with the situation. It is very well aware of the culture, thought process, and the compulsions of the warring parties also. We have worked together before with them, like we have been mediator between US and China also, between US and Taliban also. So we have proven our worth also.
But that's a very delicate position as well. As you mentioned, all of these close relationships in the region. I wonder how the country is balancing those relations, because obviously that role is a very sensitive one. We saw some initial criticism when Pakistan's Prime Minister Sharif appeared to post on X, and the top line of the post had said, draft Pakistan's PM message for X, looking as though, that tweet had been dictated to him rather from the US perhaps rather than written himself. And then we've also seen criticism on the other side from, the United Arab Emirates about, accusing Pakistan of closeness with Iran. So given all these kind of regional sensitivities, these accusations, how do you read, the accusation by some that Pakistan is too close to one or other party, and kind of accusations that despite its declaration of a ceasefire, Israel's ongoing attacks in Lebanon and the US naval blockade suggests that perhaps, despite its role as a mediator, the influence it can really bring to bear on the parties to the ceasefire, typically the US, is actually quite limited.
You see, Pakistan's recipe to this mediation is pragmatism. That's what Pakistan has been following, pragmatism. Right from the beginning of the conflict, if you see, Pakistan has been quite pragmatic. And you are right, we have been walking a very tight rope. But we have been successfully doing it just because we have been pragmatic. See, when aggression was made against Iran, when Iran was attacked, Pakistan condemned. And when the Arab countries were attacked by Iran, Pakistan condemned openly. There was nothing that Pakistan hid or took side of anybody. Now, Pakistan, although enjoys good relations with both the warring parties, but Pakistan also understands that both the parties have to take decisions by themselves in the favor of their national interest. They are not going to take decisions for Pakistan. They are going to take decisions for themselves, for the good of region, for the good of world. That's what Pakistan actually tells them. So we are not only facilitating them or hosting them, we are mediating and moderating with a point of view that what is good for the region, what is good for the world, and what is good for all the countries involved in it. Pakistan is not directly involved in the conflict, but we have direct stakes in the conflict. As I've earlier told you, that we live in this region and we know if this war is not stopped, how catastrophic it is going to be for everybody, especially Pakistan.
Yeah, speaking of those stakes, there were some expectations, perhaps at the start of the war. There was chatter about, Pakistan's previous defense agreement with Saudi Arabia. And obviously, Saudi Arabia has been under, attack from Iranian missiles. I wonder, if we're talking about what's at stake here for Pakistan, firstly, it shares this long border with Iran. It obviously feels the impact of the energy cutoff from the Strait of Hormuz. But even, with regard to its regional relations, was there a fear in Pakistan that should the war escalate, the country would be expected to get involved somehow on the side of Saudi Arabia? Obviously, it's a nuclear power. And do you think there was an expectation or perhaps a disappointment from the Gulf states that it did not take a more active role and instead opted for this mediating role?
I think Pakistan understands very well that if this war escalates, then not many countries will participate in this war physically, actively, and it will be a very difficult situation for Pakistan. And that's why Pakistan has been actually making Arab partners understand that if they participate or if they respond to Iran directly, actually that will be a very difficult situation for everybody, because then there will be so many warring parties and it will be difficult to negotiate among them, number one. Number two, their allies will have to take sides, including Pakistan. So that will be a very difficult situation for Pakistan. Still, Pakistan, I think, feels that if this war does not stop, the negotiations, God forbid, fail, the war will have escalation on a very vital scale, actually, and not many countries will be involved directly, and that will not be good for Pakistan. That's what I'm saying. We don't have we are not directly involved. We are not party to this conflict, but we have direct stakes in this conflict. That's why we are most interested in mediation.
And, as you talk about these issues of regional security and many parties to the conflict, this conflict has also been an opportunity to rethink regional relations and strategies for several countries in the Middle East and beyond. We've seen talks between the foreign ministers of Pakistan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, some with Egypt. And, there has been a lot of discussion about that potential regional bloc, as it were. It's often stated in opposition to or defense against another kind of forming bloc, the I2U2, with Israel, India, the US, and the United Arab Emirates. What do you make of those regional blocs and this chatter about kind of two different approaches to regional security? Do you think the war has strengthened those developments, or do you think it hasn't had an impact so far?
I think there are different perspectives on different sides. I would say. For example, you have mentioned about I2U2. So the members of I2U2 are looking for a greater role and pronounce I2U2 after this war is over. If US in some way wins, but if US has to retreat, and if Iran emerges as a stronger country, I think there will be a redefined region after this war, which will have to think so many things about its security and its economy and politics and things like that. But I think Pakistan, from Pakistan's perspective, we are not looking that far. Our first and foremost requirement is to have this war stopped permanently and brought lasting peace to the region. Number one. Number two, we are not going to look at taking sides of anybody. Like we are enjoying good relations with everybody. I have told you in general, we are enjoying good relations with everybody starting from May 2025. So we are not going to lose that leverage with any country, or we are not going to enhance that leverage with any other country on the cost of other. So I think Pakistan is going to be an important player in this region, not only in this region, perhaps extra region also, uh, enhancing its political leverage in the region as well as in the world.
Yeah, I suppose looking forward then, if Pakistan's role in these efforts turns out to be successful, we know of this close relationship between Trump and General Munir, and we know that the country is eager to play a greater role in the region. Do you see Pakistan being more active diplomatically, especially since many of the Gulf states now being parties to this war are no longer in a position to take that role. And if Pakistan chooses to do so, do you think it can still maintain those relationships? As you've mentioned, I mean, we saw gathered a bit of chatter, the United Arab Emirates not rolling over Pakistan's debt for another year and instead demanding repayments. Do you worry about the risks of Pakistan playing a more active role in the region? Or do you think actually, given the widespread nature of its relationships with China, US, and so forth, it could actually only continue?
Whatever Pakistan has in its kitty, in diplomatic kitty, I would say, Pakistan would like to keep it like that. Uh, Talking specifically of UAE, I think there is no negative repercussion of what UAE asked from us. We believe that when we needed money, UAE gave it to us. They helped us in our time. So if they need it now, we should give it back to them. Maybe arranging from our friends or from our own kitty, that does not matter. But there are not much ill feelings about that, you see. And Pakistan would not like to lose that important country in the Middle East. It would like to maintain its relationships at whatever level, uh, good relations with UAE, also with all other countries. And we would be focusing actually on enhancing our diplomatic and political leverage in the region. That's an opportunity that has been provided to us. Uh, it started from May 2025, but it has been pronounced in this war. So we would like to actually capitalize upon that in future also. We have our so many problems with us, like cross-border terrorism, like Kashmir issue. We would also like to come ask the world to come and sit with us and listen to us and understand what are our problems and help us in solving them. If we are helping the world in getting rid of this war, you see, any poor person living in any part of the world is affected by the bad repercussions of this conflict, the economic, the financial repercussions of this conflict. So Pakistan is getting him rid of these effects. Pakistan is helping that poor person. So why shouldn't the world come to Pakistan and help Pakistan in whatever problems it has with its neighbors? This is the kind of diplomatic and political leverage that we should be focusing on.
Certainly, that leverage will be a key point for Pakistan to push going forward. Just to close before I let you go, Admiral, you yourself are obviously from a naval background. How do you see this situation in the Strait of Hormuz playing out? We know Iran retains control. The US has this naval blockade. There are ships passing through the strait have been fired upon. In the meantime, energy, food markets, fertilizer markets will begin to feel even more pain than they have already. How do you see the situation in the strait being resolved? Can it be resolved through military means?
You see, Strait of Hormuz is under positive control of Iran. That's one thing. That's period. I know that. They have that capability, and that capability cannot be seized from them. And US has tried its best by all means to seize that control, but they have not been able to do that. That's why they had to enforce a blockade of Iran. Now, enforcing blockade against Iran after ceasefire, that amounts to breaching the ceasefire, if you see technically, because blockade is technically an act of war. So Iran reserves the right to breach that blockade, and that has to be done kinetically. So Iran is not doing it because perhaps it wishes to give negotiations a chance, but the activities are growing. The kinetic activities are growing because of this blockade. There is a response from Iran by firing in the shape of firing on the vessels, and that's actually not heading to a positive direction while the talks are still going on. I personally feel that either US will have to lift this blockade or will have to make it ineffective to incentivize Iran to come to the talks, and then only talks will further. I have also served in Iran for about 3 years, and I know they are very deft in diplomacy and in this game of nerves. I know they are master this game of nerves. So I think US will have to take some steps forward to bring them back to the negotiation table.
Well, hopefully your words will come true and diplomacy will prevail and we will see an end to this crisis. Rear Admiral Sayed Faisal Ali Shah, thank you so much for speaking to Middle East Eye today. It's been a real pleasure to hear your analysis and have you on.